This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Show 213, Aussie Mac Zone. Proudly presented by athwebhosting.com.au. No, yep, that one. athwebhosting.com.au. With the affordable and competitive plans, the 99.95% uptime, domain registration, free setup, auto setup, instant activation. One click installs 250 scripts, including WordPress and Joomla. The cPanel, the industry standard user-friendly feature-rich control panel, all from $5.95 per month when paid annually. So we've got our Aussie Apple Ramblings this week. And I have Garth. How are you, my friend? Sweating away there like a beauty?
Sweating away like a beauty. That's right. I've turned the fan off 3 or 4 minutes ago and I'm already sweating.
Yeah.
It's Queensland and I believe they think it's summer, but it's not quite still.
And
how are you, Michael?
Fantastic.
I hear it's pretty hot
mate.
down there too.
Yes, it was very warm today, but hopefully it's going to drop down 10 degrees overnight and for the next couple of days. We'll see what happens.
We'll see, yes.
Karen's in control again tonight. So
thank you very much, Karen. You're an amazing wife. I don't know where Michael found you or how he keeps you. It's incredible. Well,
I have to agree in that.
yeah, absolutely.
Just like your wife, chained up in the kitchen. Isn't that where you keep her?
Oh no, she's got the air conditioning.
So we've got plenty of stories this week, starting with yes. I expect my iPhone 10 on the 3rd of the 11th, 2017. So yeah, and I did the whole rundown and I posted everything I could on Aussie Mac Zone webpage and our Facebook page and our Aussie Mac Zone Apple News page. So I've got a picture there of the final approval. So it went live at 6:03 p.m. Sydney time, and by 6:03 p.m. I had my order in. I'd been practicing.
Well, all I can say, Michael, is good for freaking you, because I don't. Let me tell you what happened with my order.
Yeah.
So I was just coming out of work, and I'm sort of still in two minds about whether I, want to get it at all. I thought, I might as well put in an order because I can always cancel it anyway. I've got, there's going to be time to cancel it. There's a two weeks after you have it to take it back, sort of thing.
Yep.
So I come out of work, and in my time it's 5 o'clock, 5:01.
Yep.
And of course the app's not responding at this point.
That's right.
So I tried the website, and I closed the app and opened the app and tried the website, and I finally got it to work on the website for a bit. But then it wouldn't go through a certain point and but the website was telling me 2 to 3 weeks at this stage.
Okay.
Here, where I was connecting to whatever Apple servers are about, I was getting, this is about 7 past 5.
Yeah.
And the app was still not responding. It was still just telling us to come back later.
Yep.
So,
This is the web app?
Well, this is the actual Apple Store app.
Okay.
At about 7 past, it was still not happy with the world. It still didn't want me to have an iPhone. So the best date I saw was 2 to 3 weeks, but I couldn't get that in. And then the app decided to work. So I thought, okay, it's really quick on the app. I'll just do it there.
Yep.
4 to 5 weeks. Cool. Okay. Not as good as I hoped, but anyway, went through, pressed the little Apple Pay button. You get the little dingling that you get under iOS 11. Very nice sound, by the way. That little Apple, very satisfying sound of a successful purchase.
Yep.
However, I then get no email. So I do it again. And I still get no email. So I thought, what the hell? I can still cancel them. At this point, it's up to 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I would have bought about 17 of them, and they all went through just fine. You get the little confirmation sound that Apple Pay has worked and that your order, no email. And at this point, I'm
Panicking.
bad word it. So I just let it go, and came back to it 24 hours, and it was still saying 5 to 6 weeks, and that's the order that I got in, and that one went through. It went ding, and I got an email straight away.
There you go.
But all of the orders that I placed at the time, even when it let me go through, none of them took for whatever reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that was all of the orders that I actually placed and paid for according to Apple Pay were through the Apple Store app, but none of them worked.
Interesting. I wonder why. Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was something other than interesting. It was very uninteresting. It was very...
What do I care? I've got one coming.
Yeah, I know. Good for you. No, but like I said, it's no big deal to me because I'm not even really convinced that I want to grab it.
It was interesting because for some reason it didn't have... They appeared to refresh the app or whatever, and it didn't have my favourite, so I had to actually do the whole process. But I'd been practicing, so I did it all in under a minute. Bang, 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 bang. But the actual...
It is extraordinarily quick and easy to buy something on that app, isn't it? Yeah.
And then, it took forever for the actual web page to come up. It was a lot later than the App Store on the Apple Store app on the phone was a lot earlier than the web page.
Well, that's the strange thing here. It wasn't for me. It wasn't anyway. Yeah. Safari on my iPhone. I was walking to the bus at this point. I'm not sort of at a computer. So Safari on the iPhone was responding before. Excuse me, before the Apple Store was. But nonetheless, it didn't let me get the order through either.
What I thought was interesting after last week's conversation about Vodafone is I got an email from them at 6:05 saying contact us and we can do the pre-ordering for you. Ring us now. Come on. So
okay.
They were doing a big push, which is good.
Yeah. Yep. Well, there you go. So okay, before we move on from that one more question. Yep. What one did you order? Tell us which one of the 4 did you pick?
64 gig silver. Base model silver.
Same as me, yeah. I thought I'd go the silver this year, something a bit different. I always go the space grey and black or whatever they have.
Yeah.
But because the only thing that puts me off of all those colours is that white thing around the border, and we don't have that this year. So
if I'm going to put a clear case on it, I think my logo, because I got a sticker with my logo that I put on the phone, shows through the clear case. I just think it looks better on the silver one than it does on the black one. That's all.
Okay, fair enough. Yep.
Yeah.
Very good.
One of the podcasts I was listening to, I think it was Friday morning actually, made me think was if you're going to shoot 4K video, 64 gig apparently is not very much. Like not a lot of video.
Yeah, true enough. I guess though. If you have a proper iCloud plan, don't you? You're not one of these people who sticks to the 5 gig thing. So as long as you've got good internet connection as well, it'll offload that video pretty quick for you, hopefully.
Yeah, and I don't have a 4K TV anyway, so right now it doesn't make any difference.
Well, it's still good for archiving, I suppose. If you're going to be, grandkids or something like that, you probably want to take some, future-proof it. So
something to look forward to. So I'm getting psyched up now because I'm going to do a proper unboxing video of the whole deal, get it all ready and pumped up on Friday, I hope.
Okay, yeah.
I actually, like I told everybody last week, I actually did a practice run in the morning to make sure all the payment thing and everything went through properly. Bought a Lightning to 3.5 adapter because this is my first Lightning only phone, so I put one in the car and one in the travel kit. That worked. Then got a message from Australia Post yesterday saying that it had been delivered today. Got a message from Australia Post today saying, it's been delayed, but they've already got it. They just weren't going to deliver it today to me. So
They better not do that with the phone, otherwise I'll be walking down the Apple store and saying, "I'll have my phone now, please."
With one of those things, you could just, it's one of they can't just throw it in an envelope and send it out to you. Isn't
That's
it?
right, yeah.
Case is probably 25 times bigger than the thing itself is. But yeah, quite right. You'll want to spare one or two of those things. That's a.
Yeah.
I thought you might have had to order some AirPods or something else. Oh, sorry, Karen. I just had to do a test run and accidentally bought this new MacBook.
No. Now, story number 2, which is, there was a doctor was asked to test an iPhone gadget and ended up diagnosing his own cancer. So the Next Web reports, earlier this year, a vascular surgeon diagnosed his own cancer while testing out a new ultrasound gadget for his smartphone. So the doctor, who's not an oncologist, was tapped to test out the Butterfly IQ, a tiny ultrasound device, which we've got a picture up on the video feed at the moment, and it will be on the web pages. Device designed to replace several bulkier, more expensive machines. And when he noticed some discomfort in his throat, he decided to give himself a scan with it. The resulting image fed from the scanner to his iPhone gave him the worst possible news in a clear and easy to read way. He had a mass and it looked cancerous. So thanks to the Butterfly IQ and his iPhone, he has since received treatment. And if it were just a portable ultrasound for iPhone, that'd be mildly interesting. But this device doesn't just miniaturize some tech to try and make a buck. It's disruptive. It does things better and more expensive devices do. So excellent. I'm glad for the doctor. And it's actually quite a good read, the whole story. So we'll have a link to that. So
yeah, that's a good one to check out. It's very interesting story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not much bigger than like the handheld scanner you get for scanning barcodes, that sort of thing. But it's an ultrasound machine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and
well, both one of these situations where he's so lucky and so not lucky. It seems wrong to say he's lucky, but
but found out early.
That's right. Yeah. So it's a good thing, and hopefully looking forward to it. Intervening in the desperate situation for other people as well. Yeah.
But there's a couple of good comments about the cost of getting ultrasound scans in the future. Now that the devices are only $2,500 instead of $220,000, how much are they going to charge you for an ultrasound?
Yikes! Yeah.
So, another interesting story is a US insurer offers the latest Apple Watch for $25 US if you exercise. So signing up for life insurance might be just one of the cheapest ways to get a new Apple Watch Series 3 now. John Hancock revealed today that it is offering all of its new and existing life insurance customers the opportunity to earn an Apple Watch Series 3 for $25. All you have to do is put in the exercise to work for it. So instead of paying the full $359 price tag for the Apple Watch, they'll give you one for initial fee of $25, and then if you hit the monthly exercise goals, your monthly installment fee is waived. So that's just an interesting way of doing it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you are giving them your health tracking.
Well, that's true. It is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Still in all, it's a good thing. But I think overall they'll still be coming out in front. It's not. Yes, they're giving you the watch for $25, but you're still paying a premium, I'm sure.
Yes, I agree.
You might be able to get a deal with a competing insurer for about $300 a year cheaper, maybe.
Yeah, does that mean that they'll have it for $22.50 a month for your Apple Watch when you sign with my insurance company?
Yes, exactly.
And as long as you don't do any exercise, we'll only charge you $320 a month.
Oh well, anything that's another motivation on top of all the ones that we should already give ourselves to
That's right.
get a bit of exercise is a good thing. So yeah, it's like, yeah.
But interesting way of doing it.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, a great story last week about Angela Arendt. So it starts off, it's 11:30 p.m. on a Thursday, and Silicon Valley has gone quiet for the night. The streets are largely empty, the corporate campuses are dark, but in the sea of vacant office parks, the lights are on in a squat and entirely unnoteworthy building in Sunnyvale, California, and the parking lot is packed full. Building the excitement here. Inside, scores of Apple engineers are huddled around, chatting about server loads. A collection of monitors is mounted on the wall, flashing charts, numbers and graphs. Pre-orders for Apple's newly announced iPhone 8 are about to begin, and with this is the company's war room, mission control for a massive one-night retail operation that sees a deluge of sales. Everyone is dressed comfortably for an all-nighter, yellow security bands on their wrists, and everyone, that is, except for Angela Arendt, Apple's Senior Vice President of Retail. She's running the show. At midnight, the War Room's server activity chart ticks abruptly from green to red under a flood of incoming iPhone orders. Then a cheer erupts. Someone from the merchandising team made the winning bet on transactions per second. Apple won't disclose how many orders came through that night. The company hasn't published actual pre-order numbers for the past 2 years, but it's a lot. And Arendt remains in the trenches until 3 a.m, floating between the groups, making sure everyone is fired up like a politician on an election night. She smiles, shakes hands the whole time as she's walking around. So again, there's the story, link will be there, and it is a good read as well.
Okay, yeah. But she wasn't going to be having any yellow wristband on. Is that what I hear?
That's right. Yeah, it was clashing with her.
Clashing with the Burberry coat that she still
That's
has
right. Now, I got a email this week, and I'm sure everybody else did, because it had to do with because the Melbourne. I'll just go back to that page. Sorry. It's Melbourne International Games Week, and to celebrate, here's some great Australian developed games from Australia and New Zealand. And yeah, they list. Go back to that now. Sorry. It starts off Game of the Day, which was Into the Dead 2. There's another one called Mini Metro, one called Poly Bridge. Frame 2, Tick to Earth, Data Wing. These are just some of the games that are Australian or New Zealand written, and it just did an indie spotlight, which I'm glad to see that they're still plugging us like that. Very good.
So this is a Melbourne thing?
Yeah, on the weekend there was a big international gaming, computer gaming thing. I saw a bit about it over the weekend on Channel 2, and this morning, Channel 2 on the ABC News in the morning, they interviewed in their sports section a girl who's one of the top Australian gamers, electronic gamers. Okay. Yeah.
So I got no such email.
Okay.
And I wonder if Apple have gone, okay, this is a Victorian thing, and just send it to people in Victoria. So listeners,
but I'm in
if
New
you're
South
out
Wales.
There, well, that makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah, that's true.
It was plugging Australian and New Zealand games. So.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just one of those emails from Apple, and I just deleted it without even looking. I don't know. I'll be interested though, other listeners, if you got this email or not. Yep. If there was any kind of, let us know.
I'll forward it to you.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sure I can enter the App Store and the thing will be there.
Yep. Now, some more good news relating to Australia. Number 6. Yep. The Australian company Cochlear has teamed up with Apple to release the world's first Cochlear implant sound processor made for iPhone. Now, I've got a picture up on the screen at the moment. The Nucleus 7 sound processor will allow users to stream sounds directly to their Cochlear implant from their iPhone, iPad and iPod Touch. Sorry.
From either one of their iPads.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that helps them with sound. It also helps them because the way it helps the sound is because the noise cancelling microphone on your phone makes a difference when you're in a noisy environment. So I just also have to advise that we've got friends that work for Cochlear, and I've had a family member just got one of the implants because his hearing aid on one side never worked for him. The other side works fine, just one would never quite work for him. So he ended up getting this Cochlear implant, and it's one of these, just by chance. So I'm waiting.
Okay, awesome. So it'll be interesting to see how that's worked out for him.
Yes.
And to be able to stream audio directly into the implant so that they can hear that way, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll be waiting for him to. There's a few adjustments and things they have to do to.
Yes, tune it sort of thing.
Yeah. Plus your head's got the swelling's got to go down, all that sort of crap. So, but yeah, I'll report back in a few weeks and tell you how it's going.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was excellent. So we even have more good news relating to our region. So Apple buys a New Zealand-based wireless charging company, Power by Proxy it was called. And the Verge reports Apple has acquired a little-known wireless charging company called Power by Proxy for an undisclosed sub. And according to a report from New Zealand-based news site stuff.co.nz, the company founded in 2007 by an entrepreneur, Fadi Mishriki, as a spin-out venture from the University of Auckland, specialises in small, how do you pronounce this? QI, what's it is? We? Is that, G. Yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting. Chi. Standard compliant modules that allow wireless power transfer to larger devices like robots, drones and medical equipment. Apple confirmed the acquisition which is a rare move for the iPhone maker, which typically issues a statement that never confirms nor denies. And Apple, in a statement from the company's senior vice president of hardware engineering, Dan Riccio, says the team will be a great addition as Apple works to create a wireless future. And again, we'll have a link to the story. So yeah, just snuck one in. They must have liked what they saw, and
yeah. And it's interesting that we were just going from the cochlear implant story to this one about a company whose their technology previously was used in the medical field.
Yes.
And been swooped up and purchased by Apple. Yeah.
There's lots of it's interesting the stories that are going on that you're hearing in Apple's background, and because I read lots of Apple news stories every day. There's a lot of little medicine stories and a lot of little TV / we'll make movies, we'll make TV series type stories. So lots and lots.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So we've got to remember to promote our friends at AussieTechRadio.com with that fantastic Aussie Tech Security podcast and the award-winning, everybody, thank you for voting for them, Aussie Tech Heads podcast. Now, we've also I've done lots of stories on Apple News this week with added another review, and as I said, the buying the iPhone 10 story. And then we've also been added to Spotify. So if you use Spotify, that's your preferred way, you just look for Aussie Mac Zone and there we are. So it's amazing.
Oh, very good. Yep.
Now, this one I thought
And
was...
have we got TuneIn Radio sorted yet?
Isn't it already on TuneIn Radio?
Check on that one.
Yes, I will.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
I'll double check, yeah.
It's for all the Amazon people who use that Alexa thingy. You can ask it to play Aussie Max Zone then.
Yeah, so now we've got... I just thought this was an unusual one. I got an email this week because I'm a Woolworths rewards person, and they're offering the Google Home Mini or points. So when I spend $230 a week for 2 weeks, I can get a Google Home Mini or 10,000 bonus points, which I don't know what that equates to, but yeah, it's interesting.
No.
They're offering up a Google Home Mini straight away, like already. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, they're getting into it.
I didn't even know. I don't even know how much support there is for the Google devices here. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Since we still don't have proper Alexa support. That's interesting. Might have to check out those minis. They are,
Like
whoa.
$230. Oh. $230 for the average family is probably not a lot.
Not a huge amount. No.
Nah.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
all things considered.
Yeah, and I don't know how much they retail for, but I'm sure you could probably sell it for 2/3 of what you, if you wanted to anyway. So, but yeah, just interesting that Woolworths are getting into it. So, now I've got 2 sobering news stories to be aware of now. So, just take the tone down a bit. So.
Yep.
Our once thought to be safe Wallace Encryption WP2 has been cracked, so your data is reachable by someone who can see your wireless network. So not by someone on the other side of the world. So just keep an eye on your router manufacturer for updated firmware to install. And I'm trying to write a how-to article about the issue, but it keeps the story keeps changing a little bit about who's got what, who's compliant, who's not compliant, who's releasing stuff, who's not releasing stuff. So it's a bit hard to keep up with, unfortunately. So, the first thing you got to try and do is get updated firmware for your router. So,
well, as I understand, routers themselves are not vulnerable. It's all your devices that connect to your routers. So, your Internet of Things devices, especially because they're the ones that are least likely to be updated.
Yeah,
it's your Mac. Well, Mac and iOS, I believe, didn't suffer the problem because they didn't conform to the standard anyway. So I think it's operating systems or devices that hook up to routers that need to be updated. The router themselves, I don't think, is an issue. As I understand it, but that might be completely wrong.
Changing,
like you said, I keep hearing different versions of the story. So,
yeah. And now another one is the Daily Mail Australia reports cyber criminals can use your iPhone apps to secretly turn on your front or back camera at any time. Now, the security expert, who's a Google engineer, was able to build an app that silently takes a picture of its user every second and then uploads them to the internet. He said the issue is a privacy loophole that can be abused by iOS apps. And the only safe way to protect yourself from the hack is using camera covers, in other words, a bit of sticky tape, or a simple sticky note will suffice. You can also revoke camera access for all apps and always use the built-in camera app to avoid being caught. But once granted, this permission can only be revoked via the settings menu. So there is a video and a story link.
I'm not too... From the tone of the article there, I was getting the idea that it was without having given consent for that app. But at any point, when you install an app, if it wants to use your camera, it has to ask for permission,
That's right? But
so if
once
an app
you've
that
given it permission, it's actually always on. The permission's always on.
Yeah, absolutely. But that goes without saying. It's not like you want to give it permission every time that you want to use it.
Depends what the
or
app
you want to
is.
use. Yeah, and that's where it comes down to a bit of common sense. Why is this particular app asking for permission to use my camera?
Yeah.
But like you say, once you've granted permission, it's easy to then, I guess, forget about it and
Yeah.
forget, you know,
And I'll give
something
you
that
an
happens at one point.
I'll give you an example because I've got my first how-to, which is relating to this.
Mm-hmm.
So on your iOS device, you go into settings, privacy, camera, and you uncheck the apps that you have given permission to access the camera. Now, in my case, there was one called Stock Check, which is actually for reading barcodes. It's not for taking pictures of anything. It's just
Well, it
the
reads its
camera-
barcodes through the camera, though.
That's right,
obviously,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Another one is Translate, which is for taking a picture of a sign so it'll translate it for you. But you don't think, to go and turn that one back off after you've been out on holidays, do you? You know what I mean? It's just
No.
And there were 19 others that was on my phone.
That you thought, I wonder, there's no point. But see, for an app like Translate, right?
Yep.
Which, if you're going to be using it, is going to need camera access.
That's right.
Is it going to be able to use the camera when you're not using the app? And the only time you're going to be wanting to use the app is when you want it to be able to do what it's supposed to do, which is take photos of stuff and use. So, to me, that's not such a problem.
No.
That's an of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But now I've turned it off. When I
So
go to use
next time you
Translate
go to
again,
use
it will ask me.
Bugger,
again.
I have to enable it again.
Yeah,
You
it'll
know?
ask me again. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. It'll say, you can't. So my point being, what's the point of turning it off?
Because I don't
Unless
need it till I
the
go on
point-
holidays next time.
Well, why don't you just uninstall it? I don't know.
Yeah.
And if you're not using the app, so I guess the question comes down to, if you're not actually actively using the app, can the app use your camera? If the answer is yes, then I can see the point of turning it off.
Yep.
But if the answer is no, you know, it'll only have access to your camera when you're using the app.
Yeah.
When you're actively using the app, then there seems to be very little point in revoking access.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
But because I don't know the answer to that, do you turn them off until you actually know the answer?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And maybe we'll see if we can work that out or find that info out, because
Now, my second how-to here, it's a bit of a story, but the new awesome Files app, which is on your iPad or your iPhone. So you can put almost anything you like in that left-hand column. It doesn't have to be restricted to, quote, permitted things like Dropbox or Google Drive. You can put lots of other things in there by using an app that is called, I've forgotten the name of it now, File Browser.
File browser, yep.
Yeah. It's been around for quite a while, but now with this new iOS 11 thing, you can actually put lots of things in the left-hand column there so that you can have your own data. Besides, Apple will let you put your own server, but if you've got a NAS, a lot of people have got their own NAS but no Apple server, and unless that NAS has got permission to get there, File Browser will let you do it. But it'll also let you read like lots of files using File Browser. So on your NAS you might have movie files and things that you want to access, and you can just go in and watch a movie. Little things like that. Yeah. So it's not. It's $10 Australian, which realistically, if it can save you that time,
then it's not that much. Yeah.
No, that's right. Yeah. So we've got I've got a link to the app on the iTunes Store, and the reason it's the iTunes Store is because a lot of people will be using it from the Mac, maybe. So, and then also the full reader is on Cult of Mac. Now, disclaimer: it's not a paid advert. It's just someone using a good app.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else, my friend? Anything else you've got?
One little bit of breaking news
Yeah.
is that, well, an Apple employee whose daughter posted video from the iPhone 10 prior to its release has unfortunately been fired.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare story for the guy. It seems that like I said, his daughter's. I haven't really gone into the story. I've just seen it come through. His daughter has posted some video from his iPhone 10 prior to the release, and that's a huge no-no.
Yes.
And has lost his position. So we'll see if that. Well, let's check in on that one again next week and see if see a bit more detail and see if it stands.
All right. Now I've got because we've had so many stories tonight. I've just got 3 other stories that I'll link to. But any quick comments? So I need my glasses for these. So, Walmart is working with Apple to broaden its Mac rollout, citing lower support costs than PCs, which they're obviously agreeing with IBM. And so over their normal lifespan, their Macs are cheaper.
Okay. Yes.
Yep. And a longer lifespan too.
I think we've covered this one before. Like a third of the cost in general terms.
Yeah.
IT support is a third the cost for the Macs than it is for the Windows machines.
Yeah,
and
at least if that.
Yeah.
It's amazing the difference. Yeah. And like even down in New South Wales, we previously our Road Traffic Authority, the people that register the cars and things, we had the soccer ball iMacs for like 7 years. Like they were for so long.
Yeah.
And did everything, it took the pictures and all that sort of stuff for your license in those days and things, That's where they pay for themselves, is they've got just a long life. And they don't have to rebuild every couple of months. So, Apple has Netflix and Amazon because it's hired the top TV executive, UK top TV executive. That's what I mean about stories about TVs and things.
Yep.
And another really good read was an iPad Pro from a college student's perspective. So he just decided to write a story about stop using the Mac and using the iPad Pro now that it's even better for him, of course, now that it's got iOS 11 on it. So makes a huge difference, that iOS 11, mate. Apple must be very pleased. So yeah, I'll put links to those because I think they're all worth a read this week. But it's sort of, if you leave it till next week, it won't mean as much. So.
Yeah, true. Excellent.
And that's all I've got.
That's very good. That's
right.
very good. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Karen, for pressing those buttons in the correct order at various times throughout the show and putting up with your husband. It's amazing. Well done.
And thank you to our listeners, our sponsors, and our supporters. Good night.
Good night.